and welcome to Introverted Indies. I'm with Dominique Brooks, and it'd be great to have a little chat with you. So, would you like to introduce yourself and introduce your books?
Hi, my name is Dominique Brooks. My pen name is D.W. Brooks, and I am a romantic suspense, contemporary fiction, romantic fiction, genre writer. I published my first book, Homecoming Chaos, in November of 2023, and since then I have published two very novellas in the same series. I Just a quick bit about my history. I
Mhm.
decided I wanted to be a writer when I was 8, and I made a valiant attempt with some family members to try to write some children's mystery stories with diverse characters, with some black characters, because we were reading Nancy Drew
Mhm.
and books like that, and we didn't really see ourselves. But since we were 8, we did not succeed. And I have revisited that dream of writing again now in my um, 40s. 40s. Although I'm older than that now. But, uh, I have several books coming out, hopefully coming out this year, and I am looking forward to chatting with you about past and present publishing.
So, Homecoming Chaos, that's the longest one of the three. Would you like to tell us a bit about that? I had a look on Amazon and I saw it was a sort of murder mystery and a romance and sort of a mixture of things. So, what sort of inspired you, and yeah, what's it about?
Homecoming Chaos is the first book I wrote. I published it in November 2023. Main character is a model, now former model, now doctor, called Jameson Jones Scott. She had left home for 4 years after having some significant personal and professional issues that I talked about in I Do Chaos, which is the prequel to that book. And finally, after 4 years, she decided that she felt strong enough and mentally sound enough to come back home and try to repair the relationships that she literally burned on her way out of town 4 years prior. But on the night that she actually returns to town, an employee at her parents' business gets murdered in the parking lot. And then she meets the detective who is investigating the case. They start flirting, and it goes from there. So
Hmm.
there's some romance. So she and the detective are flirting with each other and kind of circling each other, trying to figure out whether this is something that they actually should pursue. And they're trying to solve the mystery of the person who was killed at the
Hmm.
in the parking lot. Plus, Jamie has a history of kind of, I mean, she's very smart, obviously, but she doesn't always use her head before she leaps into situations. So there's a bit of damsel in distress because she's trying to
Yeah.
help everybody and ends up getting herself into trouble as well. So it's a lot of different things. It's kind of fun. There's a
Mhm.
lot of sarcasm because their family is they're all quick witted and smart alecky and things like that. Plus all the issues that she left to when she that
Mhm.
were there when she left with her family. Although she feels better, there's a lot of resentment and things because she left like she did. So she's got to try to repair that as well. So
Yeah, no, it
there's a
sounds
lot going
interesting.
on.
So, do people need to have read the prequel to understand what's going on, or is it sort of can be read on its own?
It can be read on its own. I've probably
Mhm.
50-50. Some people say, all right, I should have read the first one first. Um, but a lot of people just went straight to Homecoming Chaos because I tried to include some backstory, not
Yeah.
obviously not the entire book, but I tried to include enough that you weren't
Yeah.
totally lost when you read Homecoming Chaos. I Do Chaos is like 90 something pages.
Quick read. Yeah.
It's really a fast read. Yeah, yeah. And the third one, Dating Chaos, that one's a little, you can
Hmm.
read it by itself, but that one probably relies a little bit more on the first two books. But Homecoming Chaos, you're more likely to be
Yeah.
able to read it without having to read the other one first.
Excellent. And so do you prefer to write sort of romance, or because I know, like you said, there's a sort of detective crime element in there. Which sort of thing do you find pulls you more?
Um, I mean, I have on my list of things to write this year of a mystery. The books that I read when I was a kid and as a teenager were
Hmm.
mostly mysteries. Mysteries and thrillers. I'm a very big fan. I mean, I read all of Nancy Drew. I read Trixie Belden. I read Perry Mason, Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes. I, I read all of James Patterson and John Sanford and Janet Ivanovich. Those are the kind of books that I really
Hmm.
enjoy reading. Um, but I liked the fact that I could put in some romance. I'm learning more
Yeah.
about writing romance because I mean, obviously, when you're a young kid, most of us probably read some Harlequins and things like that, snuck
Yeah.
into your mother's room and read some of her romance books or what have you. So it's not like I never read any, but I was really concentrating a lot more on mysteries when I was younger. So I'm trying to get better at that,
Yeah.
I think.
Excellent. So do you have sort of, like you said, you've got some sort of other books that you want to write? Are those also romance, or you've got a mystery as well? Do
Yes.
you want to sort of tell us a little bit about some things you've got in the pipeline?
Yeah, I am being very aggressive this year. We'll see how that works. I have two, I actually have three works in progress in the Chaos series that I would like to finish this year. I also am working on a first person dual point of view second chance romance. We'll see how that goes because I
Hmm.
typically write third person. Right, writing in first person has been a true challenge for me. I'll start writing and I'll go back and look at it and realize that I just wrote the last three paragraphs in third person, so I have to go back
Yeah.
and correct it all. So I'm excited about what the book might be end up being, but um, it's been a challenge so far. And I do want to write a
Hmm.
holiday novella this year as well. So I've kind of hit, it's only
Yeah.
what, January 5th. I've kind of hit the ground running. Like I said, I've already done some writing sprints this morning, and I have a lot to
So
do.
how do you find the time between sort of family and career and all those things?
Well, right now, this is the
Hmm.
main career. I mean, I have some other side things I'm doing. I'm spending most of my time writing right now. Um, and, my children are both adults, quote unquote. That's what they say. They're adults. So I don't really, I think all they require is that I keep food in the house and that I
Yeah.
occasionally cook dinner. So they don't really require as much of me and drive my daughter wherever she needs to go because she doesn't drive. Um, and, so it's, my husband and I have kind of been doing this juggling act for a long time. We've both worked from home for years. So it's, uh, it's not, it's not that different from
Hmm.
when I was working somewhere else. And also, I don't know if I mentioned this. I have a kidney transplant, so um, I have also learned to manage my time better because I had to
Hmm.
rest and things like that as when I was sick. So yeah, it's not that challenging than when I was working away from home.
Yeah.
Not any
Yeah.
different anyway.
So I think I find, because I have four children and my eldest is 13 and my youngest is nearly 8. They take up obviously a lot of time. So I find I have one day a week. That's my writing day, and by the evening, I'm kind of spent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I
Mm.
remember that. I remember because my son is a huge athlete, and he had like 4 or 5 practices just himself a week, and we were racing about taking him places, and then there was whatever was for school, and then my daughter has special needs, so we'd be taking her to tutors and things. So I totally understand. Like I said, my son's 22, my daughter's almost 20, so um, it's a
Yeah.
little less um, of our time. You know, my son can drive and he can help out, and he's going to be hopefully moving out in 6 months to go to law school.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, so it's definitely it's your time now to focus on what you want to do and yeah, make writing your career. No, that's excellent. That's really exciting. And it sounds like you've got heaps of things sort of on the go. So what's your sort of usual writing
yeah.
schedule like? Do you sort of are you a morning writer? Like you said, you do the sprints. Do you find that's something you do regularly?
hmm I actually just started doing the sprints like January 1st. Because I've seen other people doing them. I just never actually signed up. And I have some friends
Yeah.
that I do them with. We did like, I think I only managed to sign up for two of them this morning. But my writing schedule, I'm still trying to
Hmm.
establish a good one. When I wrote Homecoming Chaos, I was on dialysis. So I wasn't doing anything except sitting
Yeah.
in my bed, really. And that's kind of what encouraged me to go ahead and start trying to write again. It's like I'm not doing anything else. I might as well um, see if I can do it this time around. And I wasn't on any timeline. So I basically wrote when I
Yeah.
had the energy to write, when I felt like writing. Um, Now that, you know, I've had my transplant, um, we're doing better. It's hard to come up with a schedule because although my kids are grown, it seems like whenever you want to try to say, all right, I'm going to write, there's something else that comes up, something
Oh,
with the
always.
house, some appointment that you have to keep. You have to take somebody to the doctor or something or other. So, you know, you try to make a schedule and it never seems to work the way you want it to. So I am fond of taking my computer with
Mhm.
me wherever I go, which is probably why I have to buy new computers so quickly because they probably get beaten up. But whenever I'm sitting down at the doctor's office or you know at an appointment for my daughter or what have you, I pull out my computer and start jotting things down. Then I found that trying to write in a notebook more than
Mhm.
just notes, like actually
Yeah.
trying to write sentences, didn't work for me because I hated trying to transfer them from the notebook to my computer. Uh, so I also take a notebook with me to write down notes or ideas about where I might want the
Yeah.
story to go.
No, I find I do the same. I have, I mean, I don't take my computer, but have like a note thing on my phone, so I make notes on the phone and things like that. Um, but yeah, I find the same. When I was probably 15, 16, I used to spend ages writing in notebooks, writing all these things out, but then we had one computer in the middle of the house, and that was it. That I didn't have a laptop or
Mm-hmm.
anything. Um, but yeah, now the idea of actually writing it all in a
Yeah,
notebook, I'm not sure I could. I don't think my hand would cope with it actually more to the point. I think it would just ache.
yeah. No, that's the thing. I don't. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it sounds great. Like, you can just write your notes here, but it never seemed, just the transferring. I always felt like I was wasting time. Like, I'm writing
Mhm.
it twice now. That's not good. So, I don't know. Yeah. So, it's okay. It
Yeah,
works.
it's good to have. I
It
mean, I've
works.
like you said, I make notes, lots of notes, and then you can refer back to them, can't you? And I always jotting things down in a notepad or at the bottom of the manuscript when I'm writing it. I'll add this in there or add that in there, things like that.
Oh, that's what I'm actually doing now because I realized, in the second chance romance that I needed to write in at least a mention of another friend because I thought, well, I have a lot of people that I want to have
Mhm.
show up at the end, but I didn't really mention them beforehand, so I need to mention them earlier. So I'm trying to figure out where I can actually do that
Yeah,
seamlessly, where it makes sense, not like I wedged in somebody. So yeah, I still have a lot of things that I want to adjust on this second chance romance that I'm writing. Because as I write it, I keep thinking, oh, I should have said, oh, I should have put the oh. I should have said that. Oh, I forgot all about that. So there's still a good bit of work to do
And
there.
did you say you had some more in the Chaos series? You've got more of those. Yeah. So did you have
Yes,
an idea for all of
yes, I
those
do.
when you first started it, or are those ones that you've thought, oh, I could do this, or I could do?
I had an idea when I first started. When I first started, I had written out a very vague outline of like
Mhm.
7 different stories. And as time has gone on, I still think I don't think those exact 7 will be what I write. And I'm also like one of the ones I'm writing is going to be a novella
Mhm.
about her brother. So it's she's in the book kind of
Yeah.
very peripherally, but that one's going to be about her brother because I had I've had readers say, well, I'd like to have a story about somebody else in
Mm.
the other people in the family. I'd like to know what they're doing or what they're about. So um, there may end up being more than 7, but all of them won't be
Yeah.
about her um, or totally about her. Uh, so we'll see. I kind of want to get to the what I like to consider this a romance book that's been cut into pieces. Um, so they dating chaos is about their first date and the things that happened around that. The next one, which is tentatively called Model Chaos, is kind of looking back at her history as a model and how it is influencing her current life. It's also an opportunity for her um, new boyfriend to get to know more about her and how she ended
Mhm.
up being who she is. And then there's another one which I'm kind of playing with now, which in Homecoming Chaos, I have a couple of side characters that are up to no good. One of them is directly being addressed in Model Chaos. The other one I was going to bring up in another book. And, even as I sit there and think about these books, I'm thinking about a vacation book or a book where they go to Vegas, which will nothing good will happen there. Um, so, yeah, I can see an end, but I just have to kind of plot it out to how many stories I actually want to tell and how many
Mm.
stories people actually
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
read.
Finding your audience is a big part of it, isn't it? But once you've found those people,
Yes,
you
it
can kind of
is.
write to what they
Yeah,
want. So you've self-published your
yeah,
books.
that's
How
right.
have you found that journey?
Yes. The self publishing itself, I didn't find
Mhm.
that bad. I took a class in self publishing by from a woman who had self published her books some years ago and actually had a good bit of success as an independent author. So she published this entire step by step and kind of how to market and what you should do. And also, my husband self published his book back in
Mhm.
2007 or 2008, where the process was
Yeah,
totally different, but he had some insights on things that you would have to do to get it ready to be published, etc., and so on. So, what I found to be the most
yeah,
challenging is the marketing. Like you said, finding your audience, getting out there. There's now that everybody can self-publish a book, um, it's there's like a
yeah,
glut of books out there, which is great. I mean, it's great that everybody can do it, but it makes it um, more difficult to get
yeah,
people's attention. As an indie author, you just are in, and some things that work for other people don't work for you. So you're kind of slogging through all these different options on how to get people's attention and how this might work. And sometimes it just feels like you're just going from
yeah,
option to option. Like, okay, well, maybe if I spend a lot of time on this social media, or if I go to TikTok and this and that, or wow, if I go do live events, that might help. I actually enjoy live events, so I always encourage my author friends to do
Mhm.
live events if you can. Um, just mainly because social media, you also don't necessarily get
Yeah.
immediate feedback. Like, you're out there putting your book out, and you may not get any views or what have you, and you're just like, does no one care about my book? But if in live events, people will come up to you, they'll ask you about your book. All of them may not buy it, but it makes you feel like, I'm not really wasting my time. People seem to want to hear what I have to say, or so I find live events,
Hmm.
if you can do them, to
Yeah,
be
definitely.
validating.
Do you find that in where you are, there is a lot of things that you can go to and sell books at? Or yeah, I know that where I am, there's not a lot of sort of in-person events and like a lot of bookshops. We've got a lot of like Waterstones, like the big bookshops that aren't that
Hmm.
keen on having indie
Yeah.
books. We don't, I mean, I know that there are some other towns nearby that have more, they're a bit bigger and they have more kind of independent stuff, but I know where I am, there's just not a lot. So that option is even more limited, which is frustrating. But what's it like
Yeah.
where you are?
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I live outside of Houston, the fourth biggest city in
Hmm.
the United States. So I am fortunate in that there are more options
Yeah.
in the state of Texas than there probably are in a lot of places. Um, and I've gone to a couple of live events over the past year. Have a couple more planned for this year. I'm trying to see if I can add some more, and I do want to reach out more aggressively to
Hmm.
bookstores. There are some independent bookstores here that um, are willing to take your books. You have to order them from
Yeah.
Ingram and things like that. They don't want them from Amazon, but things like that. So those are things that I would like to actually
Hmm.
add to the list of things that I want to do. Um, but yeah, I'm fortunate in that I live someplace where uh, there are a lot more options. So that's why I always say, if you can do live events, and for some people, there are things like craft fairs and
Hmm.
farmers markets and stuff that they go and open up a booth, and that works. So there, sometimes you can be a little creative and create your own thing. But yeah, if you can do it, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
So
no, that's great. And I think the like I know the author community is very supportive. I found online like the author community is great. There's so many people who, though like you said, it is a massive amount now of people who do publish and loads of brilliant authors. It feels like a bit of an ocean sometimes, doesn't
yeah,
it? Of when you're just trying to get
yeah,
your head
yeah,
above the sort of water.
yeah. You just want. I mean, and then you also get a little bit of
Hmm.
imposter syndrome, and why can't it be me? When somebody does something and they're actually, they go viral, or somebody comes and they get a million page reads, and you're like,
How? Yeah,
what? Why? What do I
yeah,
have to do? Yeah, how'd that happen? Their book was great, but you're just like, how did that happen? So, yeah, it's a learning curve. I think it's going to always be a
yeah.
learning curve because social media
Hmm.
changes every day. People change every day. What they want to see, or where your audience may be hiding, it changes all the time. So you just have to be ready to kind of adjust at any point, and you have to remember that you know it's a long game. Most people who are doing really well as indie authors have been at
Yeah,
this for a while. I mean, it's very rare for somebody to bring out their first or second book and they blow up and everybody knows who they
yeah,
are. It takes longer than that for most people, and that's something that we have to keep
definitely.
reminding ourselves because it's easy to get upset like, I'm wasting my
Hmm.
time, I'm going to quit. No, I mean, there are people out there and say, I've been doing this for, 10 years. I have 15 books already, and now I'm doing enough where I'm
Yeah.
making real money. It took 10 years. So, uh, well, no one wants to hear
But
that,
yeah,
you know,
it's
but
true
it
though. I
makes
know
sense.
someone was
It
saying to
makes
me that
sense.
often it's not till you get to, eighth, ninth, 10th book by the time you actually get anywhere or,
Yeah.
start to make any money. And having a back catalogue is actually a good thing because people then say, oh, no, I like that one. And then
Yeah.
they can look back and say, oh, you've got X number of other ones. And then they're likely to buy more. So it's, yeah, but like you said, it takes time and perseverance. And yeah, very few people just suddenly send out a debut and then have made it big.
Yeah. 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 It just doesn't really happen. And when you see when it does happen, the rare times that it happens, you just have to keep all that in perspective. Like, okay,
Mhm.
that's great for them. That's not my path, and I'm just going to keep on my path and do what I enjoy. And you also need to have
Yeah.
writer friends because, like I said, it is a solitary business, but you need to have people who you can talk to, bounce ideas off of. You can support each other, and they can be there when you're, ready to slam your computer into the wall, and they can talk you down, encourage you, and stuff. So it's, I got lucky. I found some people kind of by mistake, just that are, those are the people that I'm doing the writing
Mm.
sprints with. We're all kind of, most of us are in the same boat. We have one or two, maybe three books, and we're uh, still trying to find our audience. We
Mhm.
found some of it, but we don't have our full audience, and we're still throwing things up against the wall on social media to see what sticks, and uh, trying to find our way around
Yeah.
this
The
industry.
romance, again, is a very popular genre at the moment, or it seems to be a popular genre. Do you find that is helpful to you, or do you find that there's sort of now a lot of people writing it and again, it's trickier?
Well, I think it's trickier. There are a lot of people writing it, and my books are they're
Mhm.
romantic suspense, so
No,
they're
no.
not straight romance. You're not going to read it and get they meet, they fall in love, they break up, they
Yeah.
get back together. My books aren't quite that, so I'm kind of adjacent to the really popular genre. Although I'm writing a second chance
Mhm.
novel, we'll see. I mean, we'll see if that one gets any traction. But like I said, I'm writing what I
Yeah.
wanted to see, and we'll go from there. I mean, I feel that my audience, there is an audience for what I'm writing, so I just have to find them or let
Yeah,
them know that I
definitely.
exist. So it's where we're
Yeah.
all are, I think.
And so when you're writing, do you have like a group of better readers that you sort of go to? And I know you said you've got your group of friends that you sort of bounce ideas off and things, but do you have like a network of people who read for you and things like that?
Um, no, my last the dating chaos is the first one that I actually
Hmm.
sent out to beta readers. I have a developmental editor that I've used for all three books, and she was probably the closest thing I had to a beta reader. Then I did send the last one out to a couple of beta readers, and the main one who actually sent back comments sent them back like right before I was
Oh,
getting ready to publish. She just didn't. I mean, she didn't send them back until I thought she
yeah.
just wasn't going to do it. So I just I went from there, and then she sent me her beta comments. I mean, she had some stuff going on. I totally get it, but um, when she sent them to me, I was like, huh. Looking at my watch, this book is publishing in like a week, so I'm not
Haven't got time for that.
not really unless if I see
Yeah.
something glaring. Yeah, if I see something glaring that I need to fix. But and she didn't really have any comments about things I
Hmm.
should change per se. She was just commenting what she thought about what. So it was fine. Yeah, I had ARC
Hmm.
readers as well um, with the last one, and I'm not sure that I'm going to do
Okay.
that again. Uh, it it was. I mean, I
Hmm.
got more reviews. I mean, I got my reviews faster
Yeah.
than I did with the other two books, but it was stressful, and the whole issue of
Yeah.
pirating just kind of creeps me out. So I'm not totally sure I'm going to do it for the next books. I might just let them ride and just keep writing.
Yeah,
So
that's
we'll see.
definitely something that worries
We'll
me
see.
is sending your books out to strangers when you put so much time and energy and you hear these horror stories, don't you, about people just publishing them themselves
Yeah,
and things like that. And you think, oh my goodness, if that happened, you'd just be devastated, wouldn't you?
yeah, yeah, and or even even issues with Amazon, because Amazon has been known to go after people whose books have been
Mhm.
pirated, like as if they
Yeah.
sent them out themselves. I didn't send my book out to one of
No.
these random websites. Why are you closing out my account like I did it myself? So that
Mhm.
frightens me more so than that frightens me more so than the book being out, because as one of my friends said, the people who will download it from a piracy site's probably not going to
Yeah.
buy it from you anyway. So why you don't want it pirated, there's really no good way to pull it down. I mean, because I'm subscribed to Muso and on, and they send out people send out cease and desist letters and on, but they
Yeah.
just open up another website. It really doesn't stop it. So
Mhm.
that's the frightening thing, though, is that you may wake up and Amazon will say your book is on another site, and it's like I
Wasn't
didn't
me,
put it
wasn't
there.
me.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I'm sorry, it was
Mm.
not me. So yeah, it's
So do you
scary.
use Amazon for your publishing or do you use someone else? Yeah.
I use Amazon. Um, I do have my books on
Mhm.
Ingram as well, just in case any library or bookstore wants to order them themselves. But yeah, I use Amazon mainly because they've made
Yeah.
it the easiest. I tried to go wide. I don't know what I was thinking when I first published my first book
Mhm.
as a debut author. No one, I mean, my book was available everywhere, but nobody at all knew who I was. So, um, Amazon, they have the largest market of readers, and they drive
Yeah.
people there. Uh, I would, obviously, most of us would love to be able to go, you know, someplace else sometimes, but it's not set up
Yeah.
that way right now. Maybe other options will open up. I mean, you can buy them off my website as well. I mean, the paperbacks, I sign them and wrap them up and things, but uh, still, people go to
Yeah.
Amazon because they trust it. They don't necessarily trust, they don't trust my website yet, although, it's nothing going on there.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you just have to
Yeah, no, I
do
know
what
the
you can.
feeling I've got. So I just split from my publisher. So I was with a small press
Mm-hmm.
publisher just for my sci-fi book. And so I made a decision to leave them so I could publish the second in the series. So I wanted more control over sort of
Mm-hmm.
pricing and things like that with the first one to promote the second one, and I didn't feel like I had that. Um, but now I've got a
Mm-hmm.
box of books with a cover on that I can't now use because I've had to step away from them. So it's that what do I do with them if I can't sell them
Yeah.
through, yeah, my website or things like that? And people, like you say, people want to buy it through Amazon because they know it and they trust it. I'm like, wow, I've got like 70
Yeah.
books. What do I do with those?
I mean, but you can. I mean, if you could find somebody to buy them, you can
Yeah,
sell
I
them,
can
though,
sell
right?
them. I can sell them,
Or are
but they
you?
aren't the cover that my book now has because the cover belonged to,
Mhm.
the publisher. So
Yeah, yeah. Would you have to? I mean, if you did sell them, would you have to send some money to the publisher since it's their cover? Or do
no,
you
I
even know
bought
how
the
that
books,
works?
so they are all my books. But it's just
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they're
Okay.
under the
All right.
stairs in a box, sort of gathering dust.
Well, once you make it big with the next one, you can say, "Hey, you can sell them like get the
The
classic
original, yeah,
cover or the original cover."
yeah, yeah. That's what I'll
Yeah,
have to do.
yeah, because I mean, people go out and buy special editions of the
Mm,
same book all the
true.
time. So I So I suspect you'll be able to sell them to people because people are just. I have the paperback and I bought the Audible version and I bought the hardcover
Yeah,
of the same book.
yeah, it's true. I
So
mean, just look at Harry Potter. They all the copies and versions of that. People buy them, everywhere, don't they? So
yeah, yeah. So I think there are
yeah. Well,
options.
hopefully one day, maybe. So, what was I going to say?
Yeah.
What do you? I know you said you like to read romance. Do you read anything else in your spare time? Do you, I know you like to write a bit of mystery as well.
Oh, I read mysteries. I mean, if I, honestly, if I have a choice, two books in front of me,
Mhm.
I'll probably pick the mystery up first. I read during my vacation. I read 5 books, and let's see, 3 of them were romance, and 2 of them were mysteries. And I was just so excited to read the mysteries. One of them is a book by a friend of mine. I sent her a text afterwards saying, "Where is book 2?" It's a mystery. I was just like, "Where is book 2? I'm ready for book 2." She and I actually both like a
Yeah.
lot of the same books. I mean, a lot of the same mysteries. She and we've had this discussion before where, you know, like a lot of the same mystery
Mhm.
series authors. So I just told her, I said, I'm waiting for book 2. Just she said, I'm working on it. I said, okay, just give it to me.
Or maybe you can get the early editions, the pre-publishing editions.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, let me just review it. How about be a beta reader so I can get there? So
Excellent.
yeah,
So,
no,
do you
it's
have any other hobbies that you like to do other than, I know obviously writing for you is a big part of your life at the moment, but do you do other things?
I like to. It's the New Year's resolutions get back into
Hmm.
exercising again. I want to restart my yoga practice, and I that's like my goal every year, and then it kind of fades away by the middle of January. But it's on the list again. I like to travel, and um, I like to pretend to cook. See, I my husband makes a big fuss about the fact that I have a ton of cookbooks, and I used to get 3 cooking
Hmm.
magazines a month. And he's like, all these cooking magazines, and I may get one meal out of them for the month. So I actually saved most of them. So another one of my goals is to actually try to cook something out of one of the old cooking magazines or cookbooks that I have several times a month. So I'm trying to get back into some of the other things that I used to do before I
Hmm.
started writing and got sucked into having kids. I mean, having kids in their
Yeah.
entire lives and stuff. And also, I have on my list that I'm going to go out socially, not with husband, not associated with kids, but just go out and have coffee with a girlfriend or a friend, um, at least once a month. Just
Nice.
go out, sit around,
Hmm.
don't talk about kids, don't talk about anything. Just kind of trying to go out and have my life as well, because you get caught up in your kids and everything they have to do, and taking care of your family and your husband and and you kind of forget sometimes that you need to just go and be off by
Definitely.
yourself sometimes and talk about girly things or not girly things or whatever, gossip, whatever it is that you and your girlfriends talk
Yeah, no,
about.
I agree. I find, I mean, yeah, I love my family, I love my husband, I love all those things, but I need time on my own. I like at least once a week, just a
Yeah,
bit of time where it's quiet, no one else touches me or talks to me.
yeah, none of
Yeah,
that. Mom, I need this. And I
yeah,
just
yeah. 'Cause I know the minute I walk in the house from
you
work
know,
with them, it's what's for dinner, what are we having, I'm hungry, and you think, oh, I haven't taken my coat off yet, guys. Come on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's what I was. I have a 22-year-old who's still doing that. I mean, I ordered some groceries, and he was like, okay, so what's for dinner? I said, one, the groceries just got ordered. They're not even in the house yet. And two, you're 22. You are 22. Last year, this time, you were making your own food. Can you not do that now? On occasion, cook something
Yeah,
yourself if you're really that hungry.
definitely.
But yeah, so I said, y'all are, says a house full of adults. Everyone in here is perfectly capable of making
Yeah,
some kind of meal.
definitely. Even if it's a sandwich.
But they all protest. Yeah, yeah, all of y'all are able to cook, but they still say, no, we're not. We like it when you do it. I'm sure you do. That means
Yeah.
you need to wait.
Uh,
So
sounds like I've got a few
it's
more years
it's
left of
madness.
before mine gets to that.
Hey, it continues on even
Yeah.
after they're
And they
grown.
come back, don't they? I know that we moved back home with my parents for a bit, in between house buying and things. So they never go away, do they?
Yeah, yeah, no, they don't. And it's that's fine. I mean, my son's threatening when he goes away. He's like, I'm not coming back to visit since
Oh,
y'all want me to leave. I
he
said,
will.
whatever. I said, I don't. Yeah, I know. I said, I don't believe that.
So do you have some sort of author friends as well that you can meet up with in person, or is it just sort of an online thing for you?
It's mostly an online thing. I've met a couple of fellow authors in person. And last weekend, actually, uh, there was one person on Threads who said, I live in Houston and I'm having a hard time meeting people. And that's not necessarily,
Mhm.
Houston's huge. I mean, it's huge. It's hard to actually meet people. So a lot of us kind of said, all right, we're going to start trying to meet up and have coffee and things. And some of them were authors and some of them aren't. So I think I might end up having more author friends moving forward. Uh, but yeah, right now it's
Yeah.
mostly online. It's just friends, people I've known for a long time. Um, I don't really. It's weird. I know several men. I mean, my husband's written a book. My cousin's written a book. I have several male family and or friends who've written books, but no females.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough. Yeah, I don't. I don't know why. I don't know why it happened that way.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've at the moment, I mean, I know of a few authors, local authors, but not to sort of actually meet up with them. But the my co-host Lucy of Introverted Indies, we actually managed to meet up the other week, but she's about 4 or 5 hours drive from me, so we both managed to find a sort of a middle
Ooh,
ground, and then, but yeah, unfortunately, that's going to
yeah,
be a meeting up maybe like twice a year sort of thing rather than a. But yeah, it's like you said, it's quite a
yeah.
solitary thing, isn't it? So trying to find other authors that are nearby is not always easy.
Yeah, 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 and because they're not always coming out and looking around either, and that's something that we have to keep remembering too is that we spend a lot of time on
Hmm.
social media, and you would think that all the entire author community is hanging out on social media somewhere. You just have to find them, but there are a lot of authors and readers who
Yeah.
don't ever go to social media that are just walking around living their lives and don't know what's on they don't know anything about what's online. So I don't even know how. Well, I mean, I guess you can meet them through writer clubs and organizations and things like that, but that's just yet
Hmm.
another thing to add to your list of things to do. So there there are probably way more authors out
Yeah.
there than we know about. They're just not out on social media
Yeah.
for us to see.
I always begrudge the amount of time that I feel I should spend on social media
Yeah.
promoting or marketing when I could be writing. And then, like you said, you
Yeah.
think, did anyone see that? Did anyone like notice anything I put up? It's a bit demoralizing sometimes.
After I, yeah, after I spent all this time putting that
Hmm.
Canva graphic together, no one even
Yeah.
noticed it. It didn't even move the needle. So it's, you know, it's uh, it's tough. But again, that's why it's important to have friends and stuff so they can at least, um, you can have somebody to bounce it off of. They're probably
Hmm.
feeling the same way, so you can all sit and
Yeah.
grumble together, and you feel better. about where you are, and not like you're totally by yourself and everyone else is doing great and it's just me
Yeah.
that's struggling. You know, most authors are
Yeah.
struggling a bit.
Yeah, I definitely
So,
think everyone is often in the same boat. So it's good to have that
yeah,
support.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's all good.
Excellent. So would you like to just show us your books one more time and tell us where we can get them and how we can keep up to date with, your website and all your social media links, so everybody watching this can find you.
Okay. This is the prequel, I Do Chaos, um, the first book in the series. It's 94 pages. It's a tiny book. I Do Chaos. This is my novel. And Dating Chaos is the third book in the series. Um, and my website is authordwbrooks.com. You can purchase autograph paperback copies of each of my books on there. I even have a bundle package on there where you can get all three of them at a lower price. My social media addresses are Instagram and Threads. Both of them are author D.W. Brooks as my handle. Facebook, author D.W. Brooks. And TikTok is D.W. Brooks without the author.
Fabulous.
Yeah, um, I am going to be starting or being more aggressive about putting
Mhm.
things on my blog, on my website. But there is a blog. If you go to my website, there's a link to the blog on there. I'm going to be more aggressive about updating. Because, like I said, I try to do live events and I participate in sales and things like that online. And I'm going to try to get that on my blog, but
Mhm.
it's always on my Instagram. Everything I do is on my
Excellent.
Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Dominique, for joining us here. It's been really great to chat to you. And yeah, if you fancy doing a reading of your book and sending it to us, then we'd love to have that.
All right, cool. Thank you so very much for having me. And
Mhm.
stay warm. I know what it can be like over there when it
Yeah,
gets kind of chilly. Um, and good luck with everything. And I will be talking
lovely.
to you again soon.
Thank you.
All right,
You
all
too.
right. Have a great one.